beloved, there comes a time when you must stand firm in the truth God has placed in you and stop wasting your breath explaining yourself to those who refuse to hear. You are not called to justify yourself to spirits of confusion, deception, and rebellion. The enemy works through people who seek not understanding, but destruction. They come disguised as friends, as family, even as fellow believers. But their hearts are hardened, their ears are closed, and their purpose is to wear you down, not lift you up. There are people in this world who will never hear you correctly, no matter how carefully you choose your words. You may speak with honesty, with sincerity, with the heart that longs for understanding, yet they will take what you say and twist it to fit their own narrative. This is not an accident. It is a deliberate act of distortion. They do not seek truth, but rather a version of events that serves their interests. They will take your words, rearrange them, and use them as weapons against you. This kind of twisting is not merely misunderstanding, it is manipulation. It is an effort to reshape reality to fit their agenda. They may act as if they are confused, as if they simply do not comprehend your meaning, but do not be fooled. Their intent is not to understand, but to control. They control the conversation. They want to paint you in a negative light, to make themselves appear righteous while casting you as the villain. And no matter how much you clarify, no matter how much patience you show, they will continue to twist your words to their advantage. This is why explaining yourself to such people is futile. You could lay out every fact, provide every proof, and still they would find a way to misinterpret your words. Their goal is not clarity, it is confusion. Their desire is not resolution, it is destruction. The enemy has always worked this way. From the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, the serpent twisted God's words when speaking to Eve. Did God really say? The same spirit is at work today in those who twist truth to serve their own purposes. When you encounter such people, you must recognize them for what they are. You do not need to engage in endless explanations, hoping they will finally understand. They do not want to understand. They are committed to their own deception. Your responsibility is not to change their minds. It is to stand firm in the truth. Do not allow them to pull you into their web of lies and confusion. Speak the truth and then walk away. In the end, the truth will stand. Lies and distortions may spread for a time, but they cannot endure. Those who twist your words will one day be exposed and their deceit will crumble. Until then, guard your peace. Know that God sees your heart and He is the only one who truly understands. Let Him be your defender, for He is the God of truth, and He will not let the schemes of the wicked prevail. There are people whose purpose is not to understand but to drain you. They do not seek clarity or truth. They seek to exhaust your spirit. No matter how patiently you explain, no matter how much grace you extend, they will always demand more. More justification, more defense, more proof. But no matter what you say, it will never be enough because their goal is not understanding, it is control. They want to keep you in a cycle of explaining, defending, and justifying yourself until you are drained and uncertain of your own position. These individuals are like bottomless pits, absorbing your energy and leaving you empty. Every conversation with them feels like an argument you didn't ask for. They feign interest, pretending to engage in discussion, but in reality they are only setting traps. They push you to explain yourself repeatedly, not because they lack understanding, but because they enjoy seeing you struggle for their approval. They feed off your frustration, your exhaustion, and your desire to be understood. You must recognize this for what it is, a spiritual attack. These people are not just difficult personalities. They are being used to wear you down, to weaken your spirit, and to make you doubt yourself. When you constantly feel the need to explain yourself, you begin to second guess your own words and intentions. You start to wonder, am I wrong? Did I say something unclear? Should I have worded it differently? But this is exactly what they want. They want to shake your confidence and make you question what you know to be true. The moment you realize what is happening, you must stop engaging in their game. You do not owe endless explanations to people who refuse to listen. You do not have to keep proving yourself to those whose only goal is to tear you down. Jesus himself did not waste time debating with those who had no desire for the truth. When he was falsely accused, he remained silent, knowing that his accusers had already made up their minds. We must follow his example. Speak the truth and then walk away. Your energy is precious. Your peace is valuable. Do not allow anyone to drain you with pointless debates and endless justifications. Set boundaries, protect your spirit, and trust that God sees the truth. You do not need their approval, and you do not need to exhaust yourself trying to make them understand. The truth is not a burden to carry. It is a foundation to stand on. Stand firm and let God handle the rest. There are people who do not seek truth, peace, or understanding. Instead, they delight in conflict. It is their fuel, their comfort, and their greatest source of power. When you try to reason with them, you will find yourself caught in an endless cycle of arguments and misunderstandings. No matter how carefully you choose your words, no matter how much patience you show, they will twist your intentions, provoke unnecessary debates, and keep the flames of division burning. Their goal is not resolution. It is to keep the battle going for as long as possible. These people are drawn to chaos like moths to a flame. If there is peace, they seek to disturb it. If there is unity, they look for ways to divide. They do not know how to exist without conflict, so they create it wherever they go. They start rumors, spread gossip, and manipulate situations to keep people at odds with one another. When you attempt to explain yourself to them, you are only feeding their appetite for drama. They don't want clarity, they want confusion. They don't want reconciliation, they want war. It is crucial to recognize this pattern and step away. The more you try to make them see reason, the more they will resist. They are not looking for understanding, they are looking for power. They feel strong when they can pull others into their world of tension and hostility. They feel in control when they can make people react emotionally, lose their temper, or question their own perspective. The best response to someone who thrives on conflict is silence and distance. Jesus encountered many such people in his time. Pharisees, religious leaders, and those who constantly sought to trap him with their words. But he did not waste time explaining himself to those whose hearts were hardened. When they came with insincere questions, he answered with wisdom or remained silent. He did not engage in their endless debates because he knew their motives. He spoke the truth and let them reveal their own hearts through their reactions. In life, you will meet people who love conflict more than truth. Do not waste your breath trying to explain yourself to them. Speak with wisdom, set boundaries, and refuse to be drawn into unnecessary battles. Protect your peace, guard your spirit, and walk away from those who only seek division. Not every battle is yours to fight, and not every argument is worth your time. Stand firm in truth, but do not let conflict seekers pull you into their chaos. There are those who reject righteousness not because they do not understand it, but because they do not want it. Their hearts are hardened, their ears are closed, and their minds are set against truth. When wisdom is presented to them, they mock it. When correction comes their way, they despise it. They take pride in resisting what is good, and instead of seeking light, they choose to dwell in darkness. No matter how much truth is placed before them, they will turn away, unwilling to accept what convicts them. These people do not reject righteousness because of ignorance. They reject it because it requires change. Righteousness calls for accountability, discipline, and humility. It demands a willingness to turn away from selfishness and sin. But those who reject righteousness do not want to change. They would rather hold on to their pride than humble themselves before the truth. They see correction as an attack rather than an opportunity to grow. Instead of seeking wisdom, they mock it. Instead of being transformed, they cling to their own ways, even when it leads to destruction. If you try to explain yourself to them, you will find yourself in an endless battle. No matter how well you present truth, they will reject it. No matter how much wisdom you offer, they will twist it. Their hearts are not searching for understanding. They are searching for justification to continue in their ways. They do not want righteousness because it exposes what they do not want to confront. Instead of receiving truth with gratitude, they attack the one who speaks it. Jesus himself faced those who rejected righteousness. The Pharisees, despite witnessing miracles and hearing divine wisdom, refused to accept him. They were not blind to the truth. Rather, they hated it because it threatened their pride and power. Instead of humbling themselves, they sought to destroy the very source of truth standing before them. When people reject righteousness, it is not because the message is unclear, but because their hearts are unwilling to receive it. Do not exhaust yourself trying to reason with those who resist wisdom. Speak the truth, but do not waste time pleading with those who have no desire for it. Offer guidance, but know when to step back. Some will only come to understanding when life itself humbles them. Pray for them, but do not let their rejection shake your faith. Righteousness will always be rejected by those who fear its power to change them. Keep walking in truth, even when others refuse to follow. There are people who, when confronted with truth, do not engage in honest discussion. Instead of refuting an argument with logic or wisdom, they resort to attacking the person delivering the message. They will question your motives, insult your intelligence, and accuse you of things that have nothing to do with the conversation at hand. This is not because they have a better argument, but because they have no argument at all. Their goal is not to seek truth, but to discredit you, hoping that if they destroy your reputation, they can ignore the message you bring. This is a tactic as old as time. When people are unwilling to accept correction, they attack the one who corrects them. Instead of addressing what is being said, they will twist your words and attempt to make you look like the problem. They will label you as judgmental, arrogant, or even dangerous. Anything to shift the focus away from the truth they do not want to face. Their pride will not allow them to acknowledge that they are wrong, so they turn to character assassination as a defense mechanism. Even Jesus faced this kind of attack. When the religious leaders could not refute his teachings, they accused him of blasphemy. When his wisdom exposed their hypocrisy, they called him a threat to society. They did not have an argument against him, so they tried to turn the people against him. They spread lies, stirred up anger, and eventually demanded his crucifixion, not because he was wrong, but because they could not bear to hear the truth he spoke. You must recognize this strategy for what it is. When people attack your character, instead of engaging with your arguments, it is a sign that they have already lost the debate. Do not fall into their trap by defending yourself against baseless accusations. The more you try to justify yourself, the more you feed into their distraction. Stand firm in the truth, knowing that their attacks are not a reflection of who you are, but of their own unwillingness to accept reality. Do not waste time explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. If someone refuses to listen, walk away. The truth does not need endless justification. It speaks for itself. Let them talk. Let them accuse. Let them twist your words. In the end, their attacks will fade, but the truth will remain. Stay steadfast, knowing that the voices of those who reject truth do not determine your worth. There are people who simply do not want to hear the truth. No matter how carefully you explain, how much evidence you provide, or how much love you show, they will refuse to listen. Their minds are already made up, and their hearts are hardened. They may nod, they may pretend to listen, but they are not truly receiving your word. Instead, they are waiting for their turn to argue, dismiss, or mock what you say. They are not seeking wisdom or understanding. They are seeking to justify their own perspective, no matter how flawed it may be. Trying to reason with such people is like speaking to a wall. They hear the words, but they do not process the meaning. It is not that they lack intelligence, it is that they lack humility. They are unwilling to admit that they might be wrong, so they block out anything that challenges their views. They may smile, they may act polite, but deep inside they are resisting the truth with everything in them. They have no ears to hear because they do not want to change. Jesus himself warned about this kind of person. He spoke in parables, not to confuse, but because he knew that some people were not ready or willing to receive the truth. He said, "He who has ears, let him hear." Not everyone has those ears. Some are spiritually deaf by choice. They do not lack access to truth. They reject it. They may ask questions, but they are not seeking answers. They are seeking to challenge, to argue, and to push their own agenda. When you encounter such people, do not exhaust yourself trying to convince them. You cannot force a closed heart to open. You cannot make blind eyes see if they refuse to look. Speak the truth, but do not chase after those who have already decided to reject it. There is a difference between someone who is confused and seeking answers and someone who is willfully ignorant. Learn to recognize the difference. Your time, energy, and wisdom are valuable. Pour them into those who are willing to listen, who genuinely desire to grow, and who are open to learning. But do not waste your breath on those who have already made up their minds. Some people will only listen when they are ready, and others will never listen at all. Let them go, pray for them, and keep moving forward.